Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Full Blast Garage. And again, we're on the old transient am, getting it ready for duct tape drags. Last episode, we got the AC, I don't know, 4/5 of the way installed. And man, I was bleeding the cooling system because everything had to come out. And y'all saw this thing was like a geyser. So I don't think it's overheating, but it's getting hot. And Vintage Air does recommend running electric fans in addition to your fan clutch. And in this episode, we're going to wire up 2 more electric fans. And that's kind of my go-to. Uh, I've done that on my 454. And I've had a few other cars that, man, I just run. I had a Typhoon. That thing, a lot of underhood turbo exhaust temperatures. Ran two pusher fans in addition to the clutch fan, and ran 2 fans on the intercooler. And guess what? Intake temps went down, coolant temps went down. We were fine. But that's kind of my go-to. Throw 2 more electric fans on top of your clutch fan, and then you shouldn't have to worry about any overheating issues. But we're going to go through what you got to do to get this thing installed. And this is a cheapy Amazon kit that's got a little controller with a temp readout. It's a little different than the normal kit I run, but this is what was in stock, so we're going with it. We're on kind of a time crunch, and this thing's got a whole lot more to go before it's ready to get across the country. I think it's like 2,000 miles, so we'll get there. But now let's go ahead, just start looking through all the parts we got, put this thing on full blast. Make sure you do it on full blast. Okay, so if you've never done one of these before, you're going to want at least some sort of controller. Unless you don't care and just want the fans kicking on through a relay as soon as you kick the ignition on. That's kind of annoying, but some guys do it. I like to run, I don't drop it, something that's temperature controlled. So it'll let the car warm up to, whatever thermostat you got in it. That's a good temp to set at. This one, I'm just going to set it about 160 and just run them wide open. And this will power 2 fans. And I just use your regular old Amazon, whatever's cheapest, 12-inch fans. And I'm going to space these out kind of towards the sides. Most of the time I try and put them in the middle, even because there's just not a lot of room. But on this car, there is. Go 1 over here, 1 over there. We'll have the fan clutch in the middle, and we should be fine. So the wiring on these guys shouldn't scare anybody. So I'm going to strip these little speed plugs off and just use a regular connector. But blue, positive, black, negative. And I'm going to just chain the negatives together, take it over to the battery. The positives will come off your harness. We'll have to add some wire to them, but they'll come off your relay harness here. And if you're installing this as a puller, that's how you wire it. If you're going to put this thing in front of the car, in front of your condenser or radiator, that would be considered a pusher. And you need to read the directions of whatever fan you got, but this one, you'd have to just loosen this nut, flip your fan over, tighten it up, and then bam, it'll work as a pusher. And they say to reverse your polarity. So then your black would be positive and your blue would be negative. I would check that. And on any, especially from China, this cheap stuff, check it. Because I've had them say reverse polarity, and then when you wire it up, it's pulling. It's literally not pushing air really any direction. And then when you swap the polarity, then it would push. So double check that. Don't take the instructions as gospel. They could be wrong. So just double check, make sure, use some piece of paper or something to make sure it's pulling it in the direction you want to go. But we got everything really kind of stripped out here that we need to. And we'll start placing the fans first. And we got a lot of room in this car because for some reason they wanted, like, I don't know, at least a hand between the fan clutch and the radiator there. Seems like a lot of spacing to me. I don't know. I'd like my clutch a little tighter to the radiator than that. But we're gonna put a fan on this side and over here, and we're gonna get all the air going through this radiator and condenser, because I got a feeling that that compressor and the heat that that condenser is making, we're gonna need it, because this car, it didn't run cool before, so God only knows what's gonna happen now. But yeah, let's get going placing our fans. So I think we're gonna go ahead and place the fans first, and they come with these little plastic legs that just kind of snap in to the sides. So you're gonna go ahead, install those. And that's kind of your step off for what's gonna be your clamps. And you wanna place it and hang it here. Just make sure you're not coming into contact. Spin your clutch fan around. That's a real good idea. Do that, because if you hit, it's gonna sound like your motor's coming apart. Ask me how I know. But like on my 454, man, it's so tight. They got the engine compartment just filled to the brim with crap, and put them two fans in there, and you know, it hits, but it eventually self-clearance, and we don't have any noise anymore. Occasionally I'll gas it, and that clutch fan will pull real hard against the electrics, and it'll do a little ting, and boy, it'll scare the crap out of you. You think you just shot all the rods out the bottom of it or something, or you lost a lifter. But it's a real metallic sound, and it'll scare the crap out of you. So what you're gonna want to do, get these legs kind of pressed down to where they're up against the fins of your radiator. And again, you're not really worrying about the wiring right now. You're going to be able to kind of zip tie that stuff up and out of the way. Let's spin this around so we got the wiring coming out the top. Be easier to get to. Again, spinning. Just making sure we're good. Pushing our feet down. And what I'm going to do, take like a little flathead screwdriver and just run it kind of at the point where we're going to be installing this thing. So if you got room, go ahead and stab you little spots that you can see. What that does is help you from damaging the little nylon things that hold it together. Because really, you mash those things through, and the pins on your radiator kind of chew them up. They're not gonna clamp at all. So you kind of got to do this beforehand, or it's gonna screw them up. But drop my screwdriver. But you understand what's going on. I'm gonna go ahead and mark these other two, and we'll start doing the push pins through the fans to hold them on. So in your kit, you'll have these little adhesive pads, and I do like to go ahead and run these on where I'm gonna install. Just stick them to the fan, just so there's not any like excessive rubbing up against the fins of the radiator. So go ahead and do that on all four sides. Then we'll jam these guys through. These are what hold it. So we'll stick these through, come out the other side of the radiator. These are our pins that hold it down. So you just, it's like a push pin. Just push it, cinch it, cut it. So it's pretty simple. We'll go ahead, get that done, and we'll move on to the next one. All right, so it's kind of tricky. If you got your radiator installed like I do, you're just gonna need to kind of reach down some tight spaces, get these clips started on the little plastic piece that you fed through the front. But it's doable. You might even, if you got a little bit of space, lift up on it. You're not going to hurt anything. As long as you don't have this thing like hard bolted in, you got some wiggle room where you can go back and forth on it. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of jack with that some, but push your push pins through, put these guys on the other side, and that'll latch them down. And then you're on to the next fan. Well, here they are mounted, folks. So we got the two electrics and the clutch. We got space between the two. And I mean, there's a 1/2 inch. That's more than enough gap. I mean, if you really wanted to get technical about this, you could have spaced this guy up just so you're trying to cool more of the surface of the radiator. That's fine. This is going to do more than enough. And then again, we have the shroud that's going to go on it and kind of force all the air to get sucked through the radiator and condenser. But we're going to go ahead now. So we got some zip ties. We need to zip tie the wiring up to kind of one of the little, I don't know, just little plastic ridges here. Zip tie that up out of the way. Then we need to run our grounds. We need to run a ground over towards the battery, and we need to run a hot over towards the battery. Put the controller over there in that general region, just so I'm kind of not having to deal with tapping or something, other wires. So we should be good there. And I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and start stripping wires, and we'll pick up over by the battery once I start making some connections over there. All right, so starting over here on our passenger side fan, just gonna go ahead and snip these barrel fittings off. I don't like these. I use the spade, kind of the female male type connectors, that style. Always had decent luck with them. And it's pretty simple. You just need your strippers, your crimpers, and the terminals. It's super easy. I'm gonna go ahead and cut some of this kind of black sheathing that they put on off, just so I can spread the wires apart a little to get a better bite on them with the strippers. So just take you off, I don't know, 1/4 inch. And this is like, I don't know, it looks like 14 gauge wire. That's what I have over here to kind of continue the wiring down. You can use a female, male, it doesn't matter. I'm going to check, see if it's going to be the pink size or the blue size. You'll know pretty quick. Yeah, it's going to be pink. These are pretty thin gauge wires. And you just use your pink crimp setting. There we go. And you can heat shrink that if you want to. Normally I just leave it up to the heat inside the engine bay. It'll normally take care of it. But if you're doing something inside the cab, I'd go ahead and heat it up. Oh, didn't like that one. Might have to strip just a hair more off. And all these Amazon tools and electrical fittings can be a little finicky. So if you've never messed with them, don't be surprised if you do a couple crimps and stuff just falls off. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, we got a good one that time. They're both on super tight. And what I'm going to do, I think on these, I mean, I don't have that far of a run. Normally I chain these two together. I think I'm just going to make my own wires for each and just run them. I don't know, will they fit? They might fit through this channel just right. Run them up down this radiator channel and just down through. And that looks kind of like our best option. It gets them away from the fan. And I doubt this thing on top's going to get hot enough. I can protect them, just wrap them in like a little, some of the looming. I think that's going to be our best bet. And we're going to hook a black and a blue up, run them over here to the corner where the battery is. And that's kind of step one for our wiring. Let's go ahead and do that for both of them. We're going to be hooking up the positives to these guys here on the controller. You got like an orange and a blue. So we're going to hook those straight in together to the blue wiring. So one's going to go to one fan, one's going to go to the other. And then we'll just run the grounds straight to the battery and we'll be good. We won't have to mess with self-tapping anything and cleaning up the metal. We know the battery's got a really good ground. So let's go ahead and start running the wires over and making this thing work. All right, so looking over here, we got our blacks and blues, which is positive and negative, from our fans running through the channel here. We're going to loom later. And we've got passenger side fan hooked up the blue wire, which is going to be fan number 2. And these fans should kick on at the same time. I don't see any setting for like staged fans where one kicks on at one temperature, one kicks on at the other. So the orange one that's labeled fan 1, we're hooking up to the driver's side fan. Go ahead and do that. And we got 14 gauge black wire from these guys that we need to hook up to ground. And this controller also has a ground. So we're going to put, I think, the 2 of these into one connector, because I'm getting to the point where I got like 5 things hanging off the side of my ground wire. And I don't really normally go for action like that where I got wires all over the battery. But we're going to go ahead. We're going to splice these 2 guys together right here and put them on one terminal. I'm guessing you can probably get away with using a blue. See if I got one. Yeah, that one fits perfect. Well, we're going to strip these wires. See, actually, we're probably going to have to go with the yellow, now that I think about it, because the blue kind of fits this one wire pretty perfect. So we're going to try double up, put them on a yellow, crimp that, get it connected to the battery. And then, I mean, we got one yellow from the relay here. I believe that also, no, that's ignition, which probably going to tee in to my HEI over there. I don't recommend that, guys. If you're running the power off of something from your HEI, don't do that. All we're using the HEI for is a trigger to trigger these relays. That's not going to mess with anything. but we do have a heavy red. We need to run again to the battery, which I have 40 connections on due to all this air conditioning stuff. There's multiple connections that have to go there. And then I ran some new stuff just to kind of help the system crank faster than it was before. So I'm gonna go ahead and terminate all this stuff, get it wired up in here, and at least get close to kind of tinkering with it. So I'm gonna keep on, you know, stripping and crimping, and we'll have running fans pretty soon. Hopefully no more volcanoes from the radiator over there. That'd be nice. Well, we got our jumble of wires ran here and hooked up our ignition. We got one wire that's not going anywhere because it's for an air conditioning clutch operation. We don't need that. We want the freaking both the fans running all times, so we're not worried about that. We got battery positive wired in. We got battery negative wired to the battery. Got both the fans, and they're fused connections, 30 amp fuse, so that's a good thing. If we have any issues with our wiring here running over this aluminum radiator, that'll blow the fuse so we don't burn up the motors, you know? Like that's a good safety to have. The only thing we haven't done yet, this is our temperature probe. So some guys, I'm not saying it's wrong, they'll just hang this guy out in the engine bay somewhere. That's fine. It's gonna just kind of check ambient temp. This is all this is just an ambient thermostat. It's a temp probe. So what I'm gonna do, I already have some damaged fins right here. I didn't do it. It was like that when I got it, but it will fit perfectly right in there. And I think that guy's gonna stay. I might put a little piece of that little foam tape that came with this stuff right there to kind of hold it, just pressed in. But it's in there pretty good, and I'm happy with that. What this is gonna do, when your thermostat opens, you're getting this rush of coolant, this is gonna be kind of, feels like your most accurate point for at least, you know, temperature reasons. For that reason, I like right here up by the upper radiator hose. And I mean, the only thing left, I'm going to clean up a lot of this wiring real quick, just kind of loom some stuff, zip ties some stuff, get everything. I mean, it went from like a clean engine bay before the air conditioning to like, it's getting busy. I'm not going to lie. Like, this is a little busier than what I normally like, but you got to have it or you're going to be on the side of the road. So I'm going to clean up all this wiring, get that probe stuck where I think it won't back out or fall off on the ground or wherever. Get that done. And then I'll show you guys putting on the shroud. And then we're going to run it. We're going to run it and see if this Amazon thermostat fan controller thing works. I think it's set at like 158. I'll probably leave it. Perfect. You're 2 degrees off from a thermostat. Perfect. All right. Well, I'm going to get to cleaning this stuff up, and hopefully it's a little bit better than it looks right now. Fingers crossed. Now, y'all don't make fun of my fan shroud. It's all I got, and it's better than nothing. I highly recommend any of you guys, man, if y'all are running something like this, definitely run a fan shroud. You don't think it'll do a big difference? It's a giant difference. And this guy, it's missing a little something here in the middle, but it'll get the job done. And I'll zip tie it in place so the fan doesn't eat it up any more than it already has. And work it in place. So we're hanging up on the steering gear a little bit. This thing's a real precise fit, in case you were wondering. So on this side, you kind of got to lift up and get the radiator under it a little. There we go. So that side's in. Let's look over here and see what we're dealing with. It seems like it's not liking the electric fan placement, but we got some news for that thing. It's just gonna have to deal with it. So definitely now, especially on this one, spin the fan. Positive engagement. Where's it hitting? Okay, we're folded up a little bit. Oh, there we go, on the electric fan. And this, it might chew on it for a minute, I'm not gonna lie. Let's see what I need to do. So there's a little piece of plastic. There we go. We got it. We are past it and we're good. So now you spin the fan, no contact. I'm not gonna lie, so our shroud, due to this aftermarket radiator and God only knows what else this poor car has been through, our holes don't really line up great for attaching this thing anymore. So what I'm gonna do is the right thing, just drill some new ones, and we're gonna suck it down through the new holes and we'll be fine. Sounds like a great plan to me. All right, new holes drilled. Sure that'll pass tech at the drag strip, don't you worry. They probably already ought to worry about my battery hold down more than anything, because that thing could probably fall through the fender well at any moment, but we'll address that when we need to. All right. Just gonna snug all these guys up. Just want to make sure these guys aren't coming into contact with the radiator, because that would be real bad to drill straight into the top of it. Let's make sure we got space. So we're going to hold this thing forward. I think we're good. Just seems kind of strange. I don't think this radiator's super happy in this spot, but that's where she's gonna live. And I don't think I got into it at all over here, so that's good news. So let's go ahead, crank it up, get her up to operating temp, see what happens. Y'all think this thing's just gonna crank over? I think so. Oh, come on now. All right, I'm gonna have to give it a couple pumps. I was thinking she'd just fire right off. time. Maybe one more time. Come on now. Okay, we got it where it'll idle now. Let's kick on that high AC. Get that compressor on. Let's put some heat in this motor. Got no heat up here yet. The fans are not on at all. All right, so I think this thing giving you, so it's saying 32C, real-time monitoring. That's kind of cool. So let's switch it to Fahrenheit. So we got our controller right here. We're gonna hold this button for 5 seconds. All right, so we got Fahrenheit 91 degrees. That's pretty expected, I'd say normal after running for a few minutes. AC compressor still going. So it says short press, and that'll tell you what the default setting is. So 158, we'll take it. Man, this thing heated up so quick yesterday. Maybe we just had a whole lot of air in the system. I don't know. But the AC is frigid, folks. I can feel it right here. So I haven't ran any of the ducting or anything. The AC temp is unbelievably cold. It's coming out the vents down here. Ice cold. Super happy with how this thing's running so far. Have we got any? All right, we're climbing temp. 130, 131 is what we like to see. Let that AC condenser breathe a little heat into it. 136, we're getting there. We should hear a pretty positive engagement of them electric fans when they start flowing. 141, 42. I'd say the thermostat's probably already open. We have a little bit different variation of temperatures on the probe there. So it's kind of sitting at 145, 147. Need it to keep on climbing. Our cooling system's working too well. Maybe all this thing needed was a fan shroud. I was running it yesterday without one. All right, we're up to 150. Now give it a little juice. See if that helps her heat up any. 153. Yeah, I think we're flowing right now. So there's a good chance it might take a minute before it actually hits our temp. $156, we're getting there. 157, we're one degree off. Oh, so we're at 158. And I can hear them. 160. They are 100% flowing. See if you guys can see it here. They have both kicked on. Trying to feel for any more heat dissipation. We've hit 167. So our condenser, I'm feeling under here. Not a lot of heat. That's good. It's not burning my hand or anything. I mean, we've kind of leveled off at 170. 171. She's churning away. Let's go look on the pasture side. They're both definitely spinning. All right, when we left over there, we were at 171. So now we're at 174. You know, I think everything's working the way it should. This is kind of simulating, you know, just sitting in traffic, idling with your AC on wide open. 175 is all we've got to, folks. This thing yesterday was boiling. And I ain't lying, like volcano boiling. Now we're at 176. All right, let's shut her down. Man, that AC's cold on my arm. Wow. So I'm gonna shut her down, turn our AC unit off. And what I wanna do now is just key on and see if we hear fans. Because we should still get fans. And we do. Fan. Woo, that fan blade's hot. All right, there she be. We got both fans running, key on. And that's gonna be what we need to get that extra amount of heat just out of the engine bay. So I'm gonna go ahead, zip tie our shroud up here because it likes to dangle away a little bit. And then we're done, man. Key off, let this thing cool down. Much, much cooler. Yesterday you couldn't even grab the heater hose. And now it's not too bad. Compressor's feeling good. Man, I think we solved our overheating issue. Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in to another episode of Full Blast Garage. And now that we got the cooling system dialed in, there's just a couple small items we got to do under the hood, and then everything else is inside. Because the entire interior is stripped. Because I thought it looked bad. Now it was stinky and it looked bad. But I'm going to replace all that. And then I guess in the next episodes, we'll be redoing some upholstery, doing some sound deadening, hanging door panels, carpet, console, everything. So if y'all want to see one of these things just get put back together from scratch, tune on into the next episode because that's what we're doing. But again, man, just take a moment to like the video, comment on something, subscribe to the channel. We're growing, but I appreciate all the views and look forward to making the next one for you. But until you see me again, man, just go out, do something that makes you happy, like cutting your hands 1,000 times on radiator fins. But yeah, if you're going to do something, just make sure you do it on full blast. I'll see y'all later.